Hey, this is Michael Smith with the Bluefield Group, and today I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Mark Ferguson of Ferguson Builders, and today we're going to talk about new construction. All right, so Mark, if we've got a client who's interested in buying new construction, what are their options?
Well, when you're talking about builders, there's basically three different types of builders out there. The first is one that the client may not get to work directly with quite as much, and that would be a spec builder.
Okay, so what does spec stand for?
Speculatory.
Speculatory,
Yeah,
that's a big one.
Big word. So basically what those builders are doing is they are building a home, a brand new home, and they are expecting to be able to sell it at the end. They'll often work with a realtor to list that home once the home has been built. And the clients that you're working with will be purchasing a brand new home, but they may not get to make any selections of what's put in that home.
Okay.
But that they're getting a brand new home out of it. The next one would be a production or a national builder. Most of those builders are often building out entire subdivisions and will advertise themselves as a custom or a semi-custom builder. I like to make a differentiation between a semi-custom and a custom builder, the custom builder being the third one. So that second one, the semi-custom builder, is going to meet with your client and they're going to pick from a very specific set of plans that home builder builds from. Usually it's limited to just what they have on site, and then they're going to be limited to the selections that builder offers.
So this is like your D.R. Horton, your Ryan Homes, your Meritage, SK Builders, those types of people.
Absolutely,
right? Okay.
Yep. And those builders, all of them build different quality homes. They build a good home, and they are the right fit for certain clients.
Absolutely.
Every client needs to make a decision between the three different types as to what is going to serve their needs the best.
Okay.
One size doesn't fit all.
Right, of course.
Yeah, so they're going to need to make that decision. Do I want more options or less options? The third one being the custom builder, they're going to work with your client to make every selection and every design feature in that home focused on that client and fitting exactly what that client needs.
Okay.
The difference is basically in that order, usually you're going to see an expense per foot increase. So starting at that spec home is usually going to be, not always, but usually going to be a little bit less expensive.
Okay.
There's a little more cost to that custom home where the client's getting to pick everything out.
Sure.
Or that semi-custom home. And then moving to that full custom home, usually there's going to be the most expense for that.
Okay, and I'll say too, I've noticed where, that second tier, right, that production builder, a lot of times it might look like it's less expensive than some of the spec options, but keep in mind that's the base price that you see advertised, right? Because you still have to make some selections.
Correct.
So if I walk into the model home of the neighborhood, they're going to say, hey, this floor plan, base price is, $199.9, right? By the time you get out the door, you're probably at $220, $230, something like that, because, did you want, hardwood instead of carpet? Did you want granite instead of this and that? Oh, did you want like doors and windows in your house, right? Tack on another $1,000 or whatever. So
absolutely, yeah. Okay. We've often worked with clients where they brought us a plan and said, hey, this other builder can build it for X dollars per foot. And when we really start dissecting the what their deliverables are, what finishes there are in the home, when we compare them, there's not as great a difference when we get everything that the client wants.
Okay.
And where it really makes a difference between a true custom and a semi-custom is that they are limited in that semi-custom build to only what that builder offers.
Right.
So when you're working with a custom builder, you're going to get the opportunity to pick any line of cabinetry that you want.
Right. Not just pick from these 5.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so if you want to go to really high-end, expensive custom cabinetry and design a custom kitchen that is a gourmet kitchen that you've always wanted, then that's really your only option, is to go to that full custom for the most part. That's going to drive your cost up.
Right.
But you're going to get exactly what you've always wanted.
Exactly what you want.
Yeah.
I had a client just a few months ago that was working with a production builder. Okay. Gorgeous kitchen. but for whatever reason, they just could not get a pot filler.
Yep.
And this person really wanted a pot filler, and they just couldn't get it.
Yep.
Okay, so let's say that spec home might not be for me, production home might not be for me for whatever reason, because I just can't find exactly what I want, and I decide to go the route of doing a full custom build. What does that process look like?
Sure. Well, first off, as you know, we've got to find the land for the client.
Yep.
So working with the Bluefield group to find that land is a great option.
There we go.
We will get involved in that process as a custom builder. Typically, during that land search, we will come out and look at the land once you've got it under contract with a client.
Okay.
The importance of that part is that the builder can speak to any challenges that could be faced on that piece of land. So when we're dealing with a flat lot, for instance, and a client wants a basement on their house, that could cost more.
A lot.
Yeah. If you're dealing with a steep lot, you may be required to put a basement on at that point,
right?
Or forced to put one on, and you may have other expenses such as extra grading, retaining walls, etc., that are really going to drive that cost up, and maybe that land isn't a good fit at that point.
Right, for the particular house that you want.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if they're looking for a specific set of plans and they don't want a basement, then they're going to have to spend a lot more money and not get the value out.
Yeah.
Just to put a tall foundation in at that point.
And I'll say this too: you got to be careful when you're doing that. I had a client one time that went out to a website on the internet and paid $10,000 for this plan.
Yeah.
Come to find out that plan, because it was all one story, had a very large footprint.
Yeah.
A very wide footprint. So it became very, very difficult to find her a piece of land that you could actually put that house on that was within her budget. So I think it's important to kind of involve your builder in the process of going over what are we looking for. Is it realistic to find a piece of land that we can put this house on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let me speak to that, to the plans just a little bit.
Sure.
There's two types of build scenarios or builders out there on the custom side.
Okay.
There is what we call design build, and that is where a contractor has a designer in-house, a draftsman or an architect on their team who can design the entire floor plan, and then that builder continues on and builds the house for the client.
So it's a one-stop shop.
Correct.
Everything in-house.
Yep. All in one space.
Okay.
The other is what we call a design bid build, where the client has already purchased those plans, like you mentioned your client that bought them off the internet.
Right.
If they've already bought them on the internet, or they're working with an architect, and then they'll bring a builder in.
Okay.
So at Ferguson Builders, we're able to do both options for our clients, both the design build and the design bid build. So we can work with a client either way.
Okay. So if I have plans or not,
Yep.
you can still help us.
Exactly.
Okay.
Every home that we've built has been specific to our client, and it's a one-time build. It's for them only, and we go to the next client and we determine what they need and build from there. Or they bring us their plans from an architect or online, and we build that house
Okay.
for them.
So let's say I already have a piece of land,
Yep.
and I know I want to put a custom house on it, and I come to you and I say, I don't have plans yet.
Okay.
What's the next step?
Well, the next step is to decide which way we're going to go. Do you want to work with our design team, or do we want to involve an architect?
Okay.
And we're very comfortable working with local architects or architects from out of state, or plans off the internet, but we would prefer to work with our design team. If you decide to work with our design team, we're going to go through and sit down with you and determine what the needs, what the size of your home is, and what finishes you want along with your budget. It's kind of a three-pronged attack, and we try and balance from the beginning those three needs: what your budget is, what your needs are, and what your finishes are, so that we design a home that's on budget with all the finishes and features that you're looking for, and the right amount of bedrooms, bathrooms, etc. that you need to fit your family's needs.
Okay. So let's say we get to that point where I'm ready to pick out, my light fixtures, my
Sure.
faucets, my shower head, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Do I come into your office and you have like a few options, or do I go shopping?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we are in the process of building out a showroom where most people can start.
Okay.
But for the most part, our clients can pick their selections from any vendor out there. A lot of our younger clients are shopping on the internet, and they
Like Wayfair, Overstock, or
yeah,
whatever.
Absolutely, yeah. They're
Okay.
going out there picking out light fixtures, plumbing fixtures, etc. we will guide them through that selection process and towards brands that we trust. Brands that have treated our clients well in the past as far as durability and warranties and et cetera. But then they can go out and get them from anywhere. What we'll then do is leverage any of our relationships to get them the products that they want, to allow them to get those products at the best price point possible.
Okay.
So most of the time we're working on what we call an allowance system. So we'll have put in an allowance for, let's just stick with your kitchen, a sink and a faucet in your kitchen. We'll put in an allowance for that sink and the faucet. At that point, the client can go shopping. If they go over with that allowance line, their cost goes up, the difference of that
right,
amount.
yeah.
And if they go under, now they're under budget, and they can move that money to somewhere else in the project that they want to spend more on, like the countertops or whatever it is.
Okay. So the idea of just going shopping probably sounds really great to my wife as she's watching this, but someone like me, that process just seems kind of overwhelming. I don't want to have to go look through 1,000 different kitchen sinks to pick one that
Sure.
I like, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
what other options might you have?
Yeah, in-house we've got an interior designer.
Okay.
And she can then meet with you and listen to what styles you have, what desires you have as far as finishes go, and then curate selections for you.
Okay.
Typically what we do with that is she already knows your budget, and she's going to kind of give you a good, better, best option, where good is probably going to be under budget, right around budget. Better being right on or slightly above budget, and then a best option, which is usually going to take you up over your budget.
Right.
All those options are going to be really good options, fit with the design and finish of your home. But that allows you to be able to pick from just 2, 3, 4 options, as opposed to seeing quite literally hundreds of sinks at a plumbing supply house.
So she'll say, hey, I'll curate, a cabinet, a countertop, a sink, a faucet. What do you think about this package, right?
Yep.
And I might like everything except the faucet, and then go pick a different faucet.
And we'll go back to the drawing board on that one.
Okay.
Yep.
And what if I want to just fly Joanna Gaines out from Waco, Texas to design it all for me? Do you think that's possible?
Absolutely. If you've got the money to do it, then we'll work with Joanna.
All right.
That's not a problem for us at all. Just like the architect, we have our own drafts people in-house. We have our own interior designer in-house, but we work with architects. We work with interior designers all over the upstate. Not a problem whatsoever to work with anyone you want to work with.
Well, I'll call her and see if I can make arrangements.
That sounds good.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate your time very much. If you guys have any specific questions about the process of new construction, whether it's a spec home with a production builder, semi-custom, or with a full custom builder like Ferguson here, just give us a call and we'd love to help you out. So appreciate your time, and
Absolutely.
we'll
Thanks for
see you
having me.
all on the next one.